Friday, everybody. Happy Friday, Flosstube crafty friends. Welcome back. Today is April the 10th. Happy Easter for those who celebrate. A couple of days ago, I neglected to wish those who celebrate Passover a happy Passover. But I'm sure, like many of you, these holidays that we might not tend to celebrate and the days are blurring into one another. My apologies. However, bit of a different Easter this year than many of us are used to celebrating. So we shall just do our best. So this first little bit today is actually for my mom. So just humor me for a moment. Mom, I finally opened my jar of garlic dill pickles that you made last year and gifted to me. Mom gave it to me and said, now don't open it until November because they're better if they age a little bit once you make them. Well, I think I'm safe. It's April. I think I waited long enough. I finally cracked them open for lunch today, and they are just as delicious as I knew they would be. So Mom, thanks again. And I can't wait to get another jar. Hopefully it won't be too much longer. I had a good question yesterday from Anne in the comment section, and I thought I would just mention it today because actually I thought maybe there might be a few others who were wondering the same thing and just maybe hadn't asked. Anne wanted to know whether or not I keep my projects long term on those Kay's Creations frames that I use, the lap frames. And my answer to that is sometimes yes, most of the time no. That Frosty Forest has been left on that particular frame for a while, and how I handle that if it's long term, I simply lay a square of fabric over the top of it to keep it free from dust and from the sun and so on and so forth. If I want to work on a different project, then I will remove the scroll rods and I roll them. So usually the way that I load my fabric is so that I'm stitching in the ditch or in the well. So the back of the fabric is flush and the inside of the fabric is inside the way that the scroll rods roll up. So when I roll up my scroll rods, the inside of the stitching is the project. So I can roll it in on itself, and then I stack those rods together and I keep them in a pillowcase flat, and I store them that way. So if anybody finds that useful, there you go. Okay, so today we decided last week that Friday would be focus on a designer, and I spent a little bit of time thinking about who I wanted to talk about today. And so I've actually chosen two different designers today. And you know, I'm probably never going to choose a big designer on these Fridays like Beth Twist or Plum Street Samplers because most of you already know about them anyways. They're already hugely popular. They don't need me showing off their works on these special little Friday things. So I'm searching for smaller, more independent designers who maybe don't go to market, who maybe, just sell from their Etsy shop, things like that. So if you know of designers that you think are unique that lots of other people might not know about, feel free to leave me a message below so that I can explore them as well. And then maybe they can be a future Friday feature. So today I wanted to highlight two different designers, and the first one is actually a woman who I have met, and they're both women. Neither of these ladies know that I am talking about their patterns today. So hopefully this is a nice little shout out in their going their way. The first lady that I wanted to talk about today, I actually met her a couple of years ago when we as a family traveled down to California for spring break. And so I think this was back in 2018, spring break 2018. I think it was then. Anyways, I'm talking about Jen from Delicious Threads. And she was lovely. I really enjoyed meeting her. And so she has an Etsy shop. Those of you who watch Michelle Bendy probably already, you're going to know both of the designers that I'm talking about today because Michelle is also quite good friends with them and talks about their things a lot. So these two designers may not be new, but that's okay. Lots of us, it's just a chance for me to show off what I got and show off their Etsy shops. Okay, so Jen's shop, and I took photographs of what I wanted to show you because my color printer is still not hooked up, and frankly this is, I think, just going to be easier. So it's called Delicious Threads, and her thing says Shop Delicious Threads. Whoops. So the front part of her shop looks like this, and can you see what else she sells? She makes wooden laser engraved needle minders and thread keeps as well, and they're lovely. There is at least one. Oh, look at this. Okay, look at this Winterberry Snowflake. Look at that needle magnet. Isn't that beautiful? That's gorgeous. I love that. Okay, so what did I buy from Jen? I purchased a PDF pattern, and I've actually, this pattern's been on my radar for a while. Actually, probably since I met Jen and I originally checked out her shop. And so I thought today was the perfect excuse to just go on and purchase the PDF and show Jen some support. Are you ready? Look at that. Caffeine makes me normal. And look, it's the molecular structure of caffeine. Is that not perfect for me or what? So this was the PDF that I treated myself to from Jen's shop. And she has two others, adrenaline and serotonin. She has those as well. And in fact, you can buy all three of them as a trio at a slightly reduced rate. I love that. And it's small and it's simple, and surely even I could finish that quite quickly. So I really, really like that. So did I show you? And I did. I showed you the magnet. And so, oh, this is that same design that I liked in the magnet. She has that as a thread keep as well. Look at that. It's beautiful. That is just so pretty. And she has a few other patterns there as well. I know I talked about, I'm supposed to be talking about a designer, and she has those charts, but she also sells other stuff as well. So what should we call this? We should call this focus on small Etsy cross stitch business. I don't know. Ideas welcomed. Okay, so that's Jen from Delicious Threads. So that's the first one. Now the second one, so Jen is all the way down in California. For designer number 2, I'm traveling all the way back up. This is me heading to the east of the country. So for you, maybe I have to go this way to go to the east. Or are you seeing me this way? So I'm traveling all the way back up into Canada, all the way over to Newfoundland, Mount Pearl, Newfoundland, to visit Darling Whimsy Designs, Deanna, up in Newfoundland, Canada. Darling Whimsy Designs. So I've never met Deanna in person, but I believe she's coming to Stitch North. I'd have to go in and double check that. Deanna, if you see this, let me know. Darling Whimsy Designs. So she's in Canada, Mount Pearl, Canada. Here's what the front of her shop looks like. There. Hopefully. I'm having trouble seeing if this is focusing. So when I edit this, if it's not focused, I'll make sure that their information is properly notated in the box below. But look at this adorable one of the chickens. This is Henrietta and Friends. Isn't that cute? That is so cute. And then she's got this Be Happy. Adorable. Now, what the prices that you're seeing here the reason why they're probably that funny amount is because I suspect Deanna has her prices set to US dollars, and when I go into Etsy, those are converted into Canadian funds for me, because I'm in Canada. So now I'll show you what I bought. So I treated myself to the chart that's called Lavenders Blue. And I cut off the top. I cut off the top of the chart, but it's called Lavenders Blue. And if you know that children's song, Lavenders Blue, Dilly Dilly, and if you've ever taught piano lessons, you will know this song very, very, very well. I must have taught Lavenders Blue, Dilly Dilly a million times to a million children. Okay, maybe not a million, but lots. And I love this tune. I love this tune. I never minded teaching it. It always made me feel kind of happy. I love lavender. And so I'm kind of excited to stitch this. And it's small. It's just a little guy. I mean, compared to what I usually stitch, this is teeny tiny. Teeny tiny. I could finish it in half an hour. Surely. Isn't it pretty? It's so pretty. There was another chart that I was very tempted by. So let me show you. This is her cat, and I can't remember the name of her cat, but he often appears in her Instagram feed and in her Instagram story, and he's just a beautiful, beautiful cat. And we used to have a black and white cat as well when John and I first got married. Actually, that's a good story. I'll tell you that in a minute. Look at Fancy Feline. Isn't that cute? And look at her cat in the bow tie. I mean, that's just happy right there. I love that. Fancy Feline. So that's Darling Whimsy Designs. And so happy to support a Canadian designer. So Deanna, your patterns are really cute. And thank you. Thank you for being a designer. So yes, the one I purchased was the Lavenders Blue. So super cute. Okay, so black and white cat. John and I started dating, well, I was when we met, I was 15 turning 16, and he was older. He was almost exactly 5 years older than me. And so when you're 16 years old, that's quite a big age gap. However, we really liked each other. When we first met, we actually, when we figured out how old the other person was, we kind of said, oh, well, this clearly isn't gonna work, is it? But, you know, we're out here at dinner having, I have to back up a little bit. The very first time that he asked me out for a drink at a bar, and I was clearly not old enough, and so I just turned him down. But I was so embarrassed that I didn't tell him why I was turning him down. So he just thought I was rejecting him. And fortunately, a week later, he tried again. He asked me out again, but he invited me out to dinner. I said yes. It was at dinner that we discovered how old the other person was and thought, well, this isn't gonna work. But we were already sitting at the dinner table. And so we thought, well, we might as well eat our dinner and carry on. And the rest is history, I guess. We clearly liked each other and decided that the age, maybe we could, you know, get past that. And here we are, 2 children and 20 some odd. Well, we've been married for 23 years, but I'm 45 and I was 16 when we met. So, anyways, cat. When he moved and we'd been dating for a few years, I happened to walk into a pet store with a friend of mine. Just happened to. I wanted to go and see the cats, and I fell in love with this little black and white kitten. And I knew my parents weren't going to be very happy if I brought a kitten home, but you know, the wheels start spinning, and I thought, oh, well, John has a nice apartment, and he doesn't have a cat. So I bought him a present, and he really appreciated that. But anyways, we named him Lex, as in Lex Luthor, because he was a little bit evil until he was fixed. He really was. Oh, he was naughty. He was so naughty. He used to go to the bathroom in John's closet. He was terrible. But then after he was fixed at the vet, he calmed down and actually became really a lovely, lovely cat. And he was still around years later when Sarah was a baby, and we have a few photographs of her petting him. And so he was a wonderful cat, black and white. So that fancy feline reminded me of Lex. If you've ever watched old Bugs Bunny cartoons, you know, the one with Sylvester the cat, whoever the cartoonist was, and off the top of my head, whoever came up with Sylvester the cat had a cat like Lex, because there were so many similarities, and we used to bust a gut laughing over Sylvester the cat because it was Lex. It was truly Lex, and it was so funny. Anyway, okay, so those are my two designers for today. I hope you enjoyed a little peek into their shops. And you know, if you felt like supporting their shops, then that would be great. I think their patterns are super cute. Okay, so I just have one more thing to very quickly pop in here, and it's one of these things that I'm not quite sure how to bring it up. I'm not quite sure how to talk about it so that it's the right way to talk about it, so that it doesn't feel awkward, but I think I'm gonna feel awkward anyway, so I'm just gonna say it. I have started up a page on buymeacoffee.com, and it's just a little way for me to maybe if you feel like these videos are helpful, and if you're able to at all, if you're able to, you know, drop a tip in the jar or whatever, I've set something up. So it's called buymeacoffee.com, and I think it's buymeacoffee/Caroline H. I'll leave a link in the drop down box below. It's kind of like a simplified version of Patreon. I think that's probably the best way to describe it. And obviously, you know, not necessary to buy me a metaphorical coffee, but just one of those other ways that, you know, we're all looking to support each other and help each other out. And I think that really is it. See, that was a little awkward, wasn't it? But, you know, sometimes I'm gonna have to put myself out there a little bit, I think. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I can't end on that. I can't end on that. So let's, you know, let's end on stitching. Today is Friday off the grid. I hope that you will join me there tonight. What you don't know is that I'm already wearing my party pants. I am dressed from the top up. I have my party pants on. And when this video is uploaded, I'm gonna be in the rest of my pajamas, and I am going to be stitching. I'm gonna be stitching. I am taking this afternoon off from any kind of work, and I'm going to stitch. I'm going to start with some Frosty Forest, then I'm going to do some Savon, and then I'm going to go back. Do you remember the, oh, I have to show it to you because it's right here. It's right here, and it's so cute. And you know what? I actually don't remember if I showed you this before, how far I'd gotten. This is Michelle Bendy's Literary Alice. Look. Did I show you this before? Look, Alice has hair and most of a dress. Isn't she cute? She's so cute. And this pattern, I encourage you all to go over to Instagram and check out Amy Baruch's, what's her Instagram? Amy Baruch. The way that she FFO'd her Literary Alice, it is astonishingly good. She took a book, and it was like a cutout book, and she just did Alice in the circle, and she put that on the front cover of this book, and then you open up the book, and on the inside, on a little pillow or cushion, is a little scissor fob, or, you know, something. It's stunning. It is stunning and so creative and just so amazingly wonderful. So I'll try to include her link below, but again, Amy Baruch on Instagram. Most of you probably follow her anyways because her stitching is gorgeous. And her finishing on this was just so unexpectedly creative. It really shows what you can do with these patterns when you just pull them apart and you make them your own. It's phenomenal. So I might put a few stitches in this today too. Feeling a little all over the place today with what I want to stitch. All I know is that I have the rest of the day stretched out ahead of me, which actually feels very luxurious. So, oh, and I'm watching The Mandalorian with Nicholas. We are 2 episodes in, so we're gonna watch the 3rd episode, and it is so good. It is so good. I've been waiting to watch this because Baby Yoda, and we finally have a bit of time to watch it together, so that has been so fun. If we manage this weekend to make it through The Mandalorian, next up on the list is, what's it called? Lost in Space. The 2nd season of Lost in Space, which again, we haven't watched, which is another show that Nicholas and I like to watch together. I watch Grey's Anatomy with Sarah, and I watch my space shows with Nicholas. So Lost in Space will be up next. And that's our Easter weekend, me with maybe a big turkey dinner on Sunday. So that's in the plan. Okay, that's it for me today. Boy, today was all over the place, wasn't it? From dill pickles to Baby Yoda. What are you gonna do? All right, everybody, I will see you tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow with a little roundup of what I worked on this week. And that's it. Until then, stay safe, everybody, and happy stitching. See you tomorrow.